Hey everybody, this is the Sliders Review, and I'm here today to talk to you about my thoughts on the Snoop Dogg homophobic controversy, or as I like to call him, sellout dog, because he's been selling out for years and everything. Now, when it comes to Snoop Dogg, I've just never been a fan, to tell you the truth. Because of the simple fact, he goes against everything I believe in when it comes to that of like what goes wrong in black society. The man is a gangster rapper. He's ghetto, and he spent his entire career brainwashing the minds of young black kids, mainly young black boys. And then these young black boys and also girls, or even sometimes older people, emulate him and all these older rappers from like the 90s, mainly the gangster rappers. And what happened as a result? Well, they ended up like a lot of my cousins in jail and stuff. Only 4 decades later for many of these gangster rappers to sell out politically and not care about how they basically brainwash an entire generation of like a particular race and everything. It's all good for them because they're getting that money. But then when all these like young black kids start acting stupid in the streets, a lot of them just simply do not care about them. And these like rappers range from anybody from like 50 Cent, Ice Cube, Lil Wayne, Snoop Dogg, like you name it. You know what I'm saying? They will all sell out politically just because they want to keep their money and everything, and not caring of the influence that they have on black culture. Anyway, so I've just never been a fan of his. And plus, anybody who's black and have family members that are in gangs know that once a gang member, you're always a gang member. You're always gonna be a gangster no matter what. And Snoop Dogg reminded everybody of that when he threatened is Iggy Azalea back in the day on video. Let's never forget that. She insulted him and he got so butthurt that he literally threatened her on a video and everything. And it was T.I. that had to put him in his place and stuff. But why did she make fun of him? Well, because he made fun of her for absolutely no reason. Which I have a speculation about that. I believe that like maybe some advances happened and she turned him down and he got butt hurt and just started making fun of her. But who knows, you know what I'm saying? Either way, a grown man threatened a woman and stuff. So the thing about Snoop Dogg is I've never ever respected him, like ever. You know what I'm saying? Because like the man, I truly feel like is too old school and has problems and stuff. But anyways, people need to remember this man is old, and I mean old. Like I haven't really seen his face in a while since the Olympics, and I think he wore sunglasses. I'm not really sure. But I just recently saw what he looked like from talking about this whole Buzz Lightyear thing. Man got old and everything. So you have to remember he comes from a particular decade where homosexuality was demonized and stuff. And so he has his own beliefs about them. This is not the first time he's made an anti-LGBT remark. If you recall, back when Caitlyn Jenner, well, when Bruce Jenner became Caitlyn Jenner, I think he said something online like she looks like a laboratory experiment or something like that. Now, no, I'm not defending Caitlyn Jenner. I hate that person. But the simple fact is, he straight up made fun of her all because she used to be a man and now she's a woman and everything. This sparked outrage, and I think he later apologized for it. Not because he feels bad about it, but only because he didn't want to get canceled. And you know how celebrities are, it affects their bank account and everything. And so, like, this is not the first time he's made like an anti-LGBT statement. People just tend to forget or give him a pass because they always call him Uncle Snoop. He ain't your uncle, plain and simple as that. But anyways, And people need to hold these celebrities accountable for like their actions and their remarks. So he has some disdain towards the LGBT community. But like a good fake person, he's actually friends with people in the LGBT community. In fact, he starred on the L Show, and the L Show was very LGBT. And so many people feel hurt thinking, why would you be on that show? And then later on, like, say something like this: easy money. He got paid to be on the show, and he said what he said for his appearance and everything. You don't have to believe in the cause just because you're in a television show. And one thing that surprised the crap out of me is like a lot of his celebrity fans. A lot of his celebrity friends are like anybody and everybody, from like Martha Stewart to Gwyneth Paltrow to a lot of gangsters as well. But Ruby Rose, now this surprised the crap out of me because I didn't know they was friends. And being Ruby Rose, she loves to spill the tea when she's pissed off at somebody. And she revealed him and her are very close friends. So close that he emails her constantly talking about like what movies she's been in that he really enjoys and this and that. First of all, he has horrible taste. Almost every movie she's been in, a good number of them suck. Like that Resident Evil one. And that third Pitch Perfect movie. And her acting, look, it's not the best thing in the world. So in my opinion, he has bad taste. And Martha Stewart is not no good woman. When you find out like the relationship between her and her daughter, it's pretty disgusting. And Gwyneth Paltrow, I can't stand her. So he doesn't exactly have the best taste and everything. But I was very shocked and surprised to like find this out that like, yeah, he actually emails her on a regular basis and they're like pals and everything. But yet he has a problem with two women kissing, and Ruby Rose is about as LGBT as they come. I'm not sure if she's still bi, but she might be a lesbian or bi. I can't remember which one, but I think she's bi. And so it's like, okay, if he has a problem with a fictional cartoon character kissing for a brief second, then why doesn't he have a problem with his actual friend? And she says that his last statement needs an apology. No, it needs more than that. She needs to re-examine her friendship with him and realize this is truly who he is and who he's always been. He will put a fake persona out for the public and everything, but really be like, this disgusting person inside. Just because he had a great time at the Olympics last year doesn't mean, like, that's the thing that I found very interesting about him, is like he's done all this stuff in the past, but then people forgave him because of the Olympics. I guess people really are that simple. You never forgive and you never forget and stuff, because it's kind of like we've seen now the way he has shifted politically, which is another reason why I don't like him. He shows that he doesn't believe in nothing but money. How do you go from hating this one candidate from later on voting for that same person? Easy. Taxes. We know that Trump will give a huge tax break on celebrities. This is something a lot of celebrities like. And a lot of celebrities had a problem with it with Biden, like 50 Cent. And so Snoop is really just fake. He will do anything to keep money in his bank account. Because celebrities that are rich, a lot of them do not invest. They spend. This is why so many back in the 70s and the 80s and the 60s and stuff like that went broke. Now, corporation people who are rich, they invest. And this is why they stay rich and everything. So when you start seeing a celebrity who's big and famous all of a sudden end up on a reality game show as a contestant or a judge, you know they're having financial problems and everything. Basically, the gist of it, because I'm not in front of the computer, is the same argument we hear before. Why are the LGBT people shoving stuff down our throats and trying to brainwash the kids? He feels it's not suitable for kids to have a kids movie and have an LGBT character and have them kiss on screen. This was a huge debate when the movie came out, and it's one of the reasons why it flopped. One, not all, but one. And the kiss scene is extremely brief. I mean, when it's brief, I mean it's brief. You barely notice it. Sometimes you have to zoom in just to see it and everything. And that split second is what caused him to get pissed because he was with. So the comment is basically his grandson asking him like, how are two women gonna make like a baby and stuff like that. And all he literally had to say was they could adopt or like something like that. Like he ain't had to go into specifics of like, oh, well, they can go to like a clinic and do this or something like that, or maybe one of them could ask their guy friend or something like that. Like he ain't had to say all that. He could easily just say they could adopt, you know what I'm saying? Or maybe one of them had a kid with somebody else in the past. You know what I'm saying? Like he ain't had to make that big of a deal, like, about it and stuff like that. Also, it's kind of like I'm not sure how old his grandson is, but it's like in the 2020s, so kids should be somewhat aware of that, you know what I'm saying? So he is upset about them trying to teach that to little kids, and he doesn't want to have to explain it, this and that. And so there are some people who say he's wrong for feeling this way, and there are other people who say he is right. And one of the comments I read on Threads is one person talking about he's right, he's done nothing wrong. Like, we need to stop these gays from trying to like corrupt our kids and blah 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 and trying to turn. Ain't nobody doing that. So that tells you already right there what type of person that person is who commented on that. So he has literally become the spokesperson for homophobic people and everything. And it's quite a shame because he is a legendary like rapper, you know what I'm saying? Like tons of people like him and stuff. And the thing is like the reason why that was in the movie is one, inclusion, two, it's a part of everyday life. There is nothing wrong with it. Nobody's telling you to go and be gay or be a lesbian. You do it if you want to do it. And the thing is, nobody is trying to influence you. Nobody is trying to brainwash you. Nobody's telling you to go see drag shows. Nobody's telling you to have a sex change. None of that crap. But this is the problem that's going on in society right now. There's a particular group of people who are completely against LGBT community, and they're winning at this point and stuff. And it's quite shocking because we've made such progress, like, in the straight community to like accept these people for who they are because they are human beings, let's face it. But it's like there are other things that happen in kids' movies and television shows and stuff, and nobody bats an eye. Like, let's take the greatest example of them all. Looney Tunes, a era in which Snoop Dogg should have grown up in. And in Looney Tunes, you constantly saw male on male kissing. Same thing with Tom and Jerry. And also it's bestiality, which nobody wants to bring up. So everybody was literally okay with this back in the day with Tom and Jerry and Looney Tunes and even Tiny Toons, and this was directed to kids. So what is the big fuss? This happened decades ago and nobody complained, but now all of a sudden people are complaining because times have shifted and it's a new thing for people to hate on once again because the narrative has changed, because certain people are in power and everything, because certain people complain on YouTube on a daily basis. This is like, the new hot topic for them to attack and everything. And so His logic is completely flawed, plain and simple as that. Because if it happened in this cartoon series nearly probably like 60 years ago and nobody complained and everybody just saw it for the humor, then why is he complaining today? Because his narrative has always probably been it's wrong, you know what I'm saying? Or maybe it has shifted because he has shifted and everything. But something else that got brought to my attention is I never knew former WWE wrestler Sasha Banks and now current AEW wrestler Mercedes Moné is his cousin and stuff. I never knew that. And she's actually related to Brandy and Ray J and all of them, but her and Snoop are cousins. And what's interesting is she did a match a few weeks ago with Toni Storm. Toni Storm is bisexual and her gimmick now is to just randomly kiss her opponent. And that's what happened. Toni kissed Mercedes and everything. And as we know, wrestling is scripted. So she knew it was coming. So if he has a problem with what happened in that Lightyear movie and has to explain that to his grandson, how he's gonna explain that his cousin kissed another woman? His grandson is probably gonna see, because of the simple fact he's probably gonna support his cousin in her wrestling career. You can't have your cake and eat it too. Make it make sense. So whatever, like, he is just as fake as they come. I truly believe he's always been anti-LGBT but puts on a facade, or if he knows somebody who's famous and he's cool with them, he will give them a pass and everything. You know what I'm saying? There's been lots of people like that. There have been lots of racist celebrities that will be friends with a person of color if that's a celebrity they like. So yeah, I think he's just a bigot and I think he's fake. I mean, how can you be like so anti-LGBT in the past and people forget about that, but be friends with Ruby Rose, who is very LGBT? Seriously, like they like there's no logic to him, you know what I'm saying, and stuff. Because, and she needs to think about this friendship, because it's kind of like, okay, if he has a huge problem with this and he's friends with you, how does he truly feel about you behind closed doors? You know what I'm saying? This also brings up something I said a long time ago about this whole Pixar when they made a statement, because I believe Disney forced them to make this statement talking about they're just going to allow parents to teach their kids about the LGBT and they're not going to put it in like their movies and stuff like that no more. And what I said was like, okay, that's not going to work, because these parents who are against that stuff are going to teach their kids the wrong way. You need somebody to properly teach your kids. This is like one reason why kids go to school, and so they can properly be taught stuff. Like what Snoop Dogg said about, like, you know, this lesbian couple being in the kids movie and he doesn't want to have to teach his grandson that. That's the equivalent of somebody who's racist and be all like, why are these black people in this movie? Or why are these like Hispanics in this movie? Why are these Latinos in this movie? Why are the Asian people in this movie? Like, why are they in a interracial relationship? That's literally the equivalent of that. You know what I'm saying? So this man needs to stop and reevaluate his life, but he never will, because he's old and stuck in his ways. Alrighty, well, I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.